Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet. We've reached Thursday, September the 19th. We have some stuff to discuss, and I would imagine we'll be doing another news video later on today. So, anyways, starting off with a retirement. Kyle Okposo. Not a surprise he's announcing his retirement. He goes to Florida as a rental, and he wins the Stanley Cup. The best way to finish out a career. So he plays a total of 1,051 games, 242 goals, 372 assists, 614 points, playing for the Islanders, the Sabres, and then, of course, Florida. So there will be a career video. Look for that over the next couple of days. When things slow down a little bit from a news perspective, maybe. So we'll see. But as you can see, it's pretty full board, and I would imagine it'll be full again soon enough. Anyways, yeah, so Okposo, have fun in retirement. You've earned it. Mitch Marner. So as the Toronto Maple Leafs go into the new season, we know that the core four is still there. The idea of re-signing both Tavares and Marner is out there. And Marner is willing to talk contract during the season. What this does is it does free up. For Brad Treliving, it means that if there's a clock counting down to when you're going to have to make a decision on Marner, if he's willing to talk contract during the season, it does add some time to said clock. And it'll give you an idea of where things are at once we reach the trade deadline. So if they're nowhere close and he's looking for more than they're willing to spend at that point in time, you can look to make a move or something of that nature, right? You don't want to lose Marner for nothing. So we'll see what happens there, but I wouldn't be surprised if Marner and Tavares both sign extensions during the season. We'll see how it goes. Rasmus Dahlin. So yesterday he left practice early. I didn't report on it because there really wasn't anything to report other than he left practice early, which happens a lot, especially when guys are just getting back into camp. So Lindy Ruff saying that Dahlin's likely to miss a couple of days of practice. So it's nothing major. It's not a big deal. They're not saying what the injury is either because NHL doesn't do that. But it sounds like Dahlin should be good to go once the preseason gets started and we get into some games here. Doesn't mean he would have played those games anyways. Veterans very often don't play very much during the preseason at all. Robin Lehner. We're into, what is it, year 3 now of Robin Lehner not playing hockey? So Kelly McCrimmon saying today that he is still unfit to play. So he had surgery last year and apparently is still unable to play. So he's not at camp. Don Sweeney would say he was withholding his services. He is in the final year of his contract. So Lehner, of course, will go right on to LTIR. He's going to miss the entire season. He's 33 years of age. His career may very well be done. That could make a fascinating career video once we get to the end of his career. Honestly, that could make a fascinating career video. But anyways, yeah, Lehner not at camp with Vegas, but we knew that was going to be the case. They got Samsonov, they've got Hill. That's their tandem. And we'll see how things go for Vegas this year. Radko Gudas is the newest captain in the National Hockey League. He gets named by the Anaheim Ducks today. And I'm not all that surprised. When I'm in Anaheim and I'm talking to people around the Ducks and everything, Radko Gudas, I haven't heard a bad word said about him by anybody. And it definitely sounds like he's taken on a leadership role since signing in Anaheim. It was a bit of an eyebrow-raising move when he signed with the Ducks, but it's worked out pretty darn well for him and for the Ducks. And hey, when I played street hockey in Anaheim last February, I was playing with one of Radko's sticks, so that was kind of sort of awesome. So all the best to him on being team captain of Anaheim. So I scored some goals with his stick. Maybe I scored more than he did, but a little bit different in terms of the game and the level of competition. But who's going to quibble over details? So all the best to Gudas as the new captain for the Anaheim Ducks. Caden Gooley. Apparently appendicitis hit him. He needed to have his appendix removed yesterday. He'll be reevaluated in 7 days. The good news is that it is possible 7 days from now he could be cleared or at least close to cleared. So getting the appendix out, really, really important. Gets that done. But it is one of those things to keep an eye on if you're a Montreal fan because the injury bug was bad to Montreal last season. I think it was the year before as well. You really don't want Caden Gooley to be spending any time on the sidelines. Even though there's a lot of good young defensemen there, you'd rather have Gooley in the lineup than not. So the word around Vancouver is just basically one of, all right, so Demko. Not much else being discussed. Sure, there's discussions of who's on which pairings and how all the training camp rosters are shaking out right now. But Thatcher Demko is in the spotlight, and he talked to the press today. He is confident he can get back to 100%, which It sounds like he was making some progress. He hit a wall this summer, had a setback, and so he had to kind of start over. He said over the last few weeks, things have got a lot better for him. He was out on the ice doing a little bit of practicing this morning before the full crew was out. He's not officially at training camp in terms of being a participant in it, but he is trying to rehab and do what he can on the ice. There's no timeline for his return, which tracks. We've been hearing, that they hope to have him ready for the start of the season. And when I hear hope to be ready for, that tells me he may very well not be ready for the start of the season. And also, he's confirmed it's a muscle injury. What we've heard too about this is that it's some rare injury that you don't see very often at all. And so that makes it more difficult to treat, more difficult to fix. And so Demko's going through it. We'll see when he's going to return and what the Canucks are able to do. Again, local media reporting that they've been engaged in talks with Kevin Lankinen. Lankinen does not want a PTO. He wants a contract. And I'm going to back up Kevin Lankinen in this. His numbers over the last few years have been really strong. He really shouldn't be on a PTO. He's not the only one, though, that gets offered a PTO that I think deserves a full-on contract. But at any rate, we'll see what the Canucks do. There's options, but we'll see what they end up doing. John Carlson believes that the Washington Capitals are better after off-season additions. It will be interesting to see how the Capitals play this year. Losing Oshie for the full year, I think, is going to hurt a bit. But they have definitely made some changes to that roster that could benefit them. The Caps were a team that surprisingly made the playoffs this past season. Can they do it again? We'll find out soon enough. So the reason I'm wearing a Houston Aeros jersey, Andy Strickland's reporting, and this has got people all of Twitter on Twitter, that owners are meeting, the NHL owners are meeting to approve opening the expansion process. And that the two front runners are Houston and Atlanta. And that it sounds like the South Forsyth group is the one that is the favorite to land that spot. So I did the Atlanta video the other day. The group led by Anson Carter, it seems, is the likely second option. The first option being the one that did, kind of signal first that they wanted to be a part of this. So the NHL likes money. They like expansion fees. I'm seeing all of the same arguments I see every time. You're watering down the product. There aren't enough players, yada, yada. It's the same thing I've been hearing since San Jose came into the league in the early 90s. There's too many teams. Why are there so many teams? I heard that in the early 80s when the WHA came in too. So it's just part and parcel of the sport, and the NHL expanding past 32 teams is coming. Again, they telegraphed this. Once the Arizona question was answered in that it's not going to work, not under this ownership, not right now, it was clear that expansion was on the way because Utah is being treated as an expansion team. Arizona was put onto inactive status. And as far as I know, are they still listed as inactive? Because, Morello's gone, whatever, I'm not going to get it. I don't give up. I give up. I got a barrel full of money here. But it will be interesting to see what the expansion fees are. I've heard north of $1 billion for each expansion fee. And remember, the NHL owners do not have to share that money with the NHLPA. That's billions of dollars split 32 different ways. Even though you're splitting it 32 different ways, it's a pretty good chunk of change. And NHL owners like money. They like keeping their money. And in this case, they will get to keep that money. Also, keep in mind that the collective bargaining agreement's up in 2026. The NHL could very well announce this expansion with 2026 in mind. Like, okay, the next CBA, things could change. There could be a fight. What if we just get the expansion out of the way before the next CBA, and then we don't have to have that in the next CBA because we're done expanding? That kind of thing. Just throwing that out there. We'll see. But I know Houston, I think, will be a popular decision. I know I've already seen, well, why aren't they going to Quebec City? We've been over this. I don't know if there's anybody that would be tied to Quebec City that would be willing to pay $1 billion US for an expansion team. Maybe Quebecor would think about it, but seriously, if it's $1 billion US or higher, that's a lot of money. So at any rate, it looks like expansion is on the way. So PTO discussion now. The Ottawa Senators give Dustin Tokarski a PTO. I'm so happy that Tokarski's still playing. I think that's fantastic. Hopefully he either gets a contract or gets some kind of role with the organization. The Anaheim Ducks give Aaron Dell a PTO. So there's another goalie that I thought Dell had retired. And Joey Keane, defenseman, also signing a PTO with San Jose. And again, if they decide to sign Dell, Dell can play in the AHL, no problem. And Boston adds a goaltender as well. So goalies getting picked up on PTOs. Kaskasuo getting a PTO with the Boston Bruins. Still nothing on the signing of Jeremy Swayman, despite some believing that the Jeremy Swayman signing, it's right, it's happening. It's I do have my watch on. It's yeah, Swayman's gonna sign in like the next 5 minutes. It's gonna happen. It's done. It's already done. It doesn't feel done. It doesn't feel anywhere near done. But anyways, we'll see what happens. Maybe Swayman signs today. Who knows? But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event that you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.